Hello, my name is Christina, and today I'm going to talk about current transits in astrology. Especially, I'm going to be talking about some interesting aspects with the American politics and the current energies that are going on right now. Some very interesting aspect is that if you're going to look at the birth chart of Donald Trump and the current energies, which is the Barbault basket, you're going to see that there is an opposition between them, which I find that is very interesting at the moment. So the Barbault basket, it looks like a basket, and it has one of the most powerful outer planets at the same 4 degree. So we have Jupiter, Uranus, and Pluto and Neptune, all at the 4 degree. And it has its peak at 20 of July at 10:44 a.m., which is the same birth time as DT, Donald Trump. Yeah, and his birthday is on the 14th of June, 1946. So it's a very interesting aspect. So while I'm looking at his birth chart, I can see some interesting aspects here, and I'm going to talk about them. So I'm just going to check it out and let you know. So he has his sun in Gemini, which is opposed his ascendant in Sagittarius. So he has a lot of contradictions. He tends to contradict himself. He has a lot of challenges around, especially accepting criticism. He only accepts an idea if he thinks it himself, if he thinks it makes sense. He's not open minded. He is not willing to see things from a different perspective. He just wants his ideas to be set forth. Um, he also has a God complex. So he has some transits that indicate that. And so he has Pluto in Jupiter. So Pluto, he has Pluto in Leo, which is also America's birth chart has the Leo aspect, a lot of Leo aspects. So I'm gonna look at the energies that are going through. So the thing is, he's very egoistical. He's very obsessed with self and he thinks he's God. He doesn't think there's someone better than him. Right now, there are dark feminine energies that are working to make this better because the current energies have been very challenging. So there are some interesting aspects because when we look at the DC chart, we see that there's a lot of mutable angles. So we have Virgo rising, Gemini midheaven. So we're going to make more connection. So I think one aspect that is going to be very important is that people in the Congress are going to work together so they can have more power. So it's not only the president, but also the Congress working together. So the mid elections that are going to happen in November 2026 are very important. And what's going to be interesting to see is that the Congress will have more power, and the challenges that DT will have are around his closest people, especially the vice president. He's going to work against him because right now DT has a lot of 12 house placements. So it's about hidden enemies. So the hidden enemies of DT are the closest people around him. He's going to have a lot of challenges because he's not going to be so strategic anymore. He's going to spill more secrets. He's going to be more easy to manipulate. So it's going to be a challenging aspect for him mentally and also physically. Um, because he's very greedy. So he has a lot of greediness. He's going to be facing challenges with gluttony, challenges to fall asleep. So it's going to make him look shaky. One thing that he's very, very good at is that he's able to, because he has a lot of Cancer energy and also Aries energy and Leo, he knows how to make people either love him, adore him, or hate him. So he gets a lot of reactions from both parties, the Democratic and the Conservative Party. He gets a lot of reactions from him. It's very hard to be indifferent to his actions, his atrocities, his violence, and all things like that. So it's very hard for that. And all this energy, either positive or negative, towards him is making him feel more powerful. But now he's going to become less and less popular. And he did a move. You know, I'm not very, very familiar with politics, but I'm going to educate myself on it. So it's going to be a very interesting move with the vice president because he doesn't think that JD is a threat, but actually he is. So looking at his chart, he has some similar aspects with DT, but he is more powerful. He has a lot of Scorpio energy, so he keeps a lot of things hidden. So we have Venus at 22 degrees, and we have the midheaven. Um, so he is a lot powerful. He is more diplomatic with the moon in Libra. Has the sun in Leo, the moon in Libra, Venus in Leo. So he knows how to behave in public settings. He knows how to attract. He does sometimes feel like a chameleon, so people tend to not trust him sometimes because he tends to adapt depending on the person in front of him. But he has a good heart, and he's going to play a major role in the war between United States and Iran. So DT made a mistake thinking that if he hires him as the vice president, he's going to win the hearts of the Republicans. But actually, he's not seeing that is going to become more and more popular. So JD Vance is going to become more and more popular. He's actually very popular with the Gen Z, the millennials. So that's a very good aspect for him. He knows how to connect with people. He's a good messenger. So also he has a marriage with someone who's from India, and he's going to be able to shift energetically the energies between America and Middle East. And he is good-hearted and he wants things to get better. So it's going to be an interesting aspect to see. Um, what I can say now about the war that is happening right now with Iran is that Iran has a lot of Cancer energy, which collides with the Leo energy. You know, like America wants to be the best, wants to be the most popular, wants to set the trends. And then we have the Cancer energy, which is uh, can be very powerful and it can be very volatile and destructive and can be explosible. Um, so they felt a lot of collective trauma. They felt very oppressed. The feminine energy has felt very, very oppressed. So we're going to see an increase in the conflict. But things are going to shift and are going to balance because the feminine energy is going to prevail in a way and it's going to change things right now. Um, One thing that is interesting is that today I heard that the North Korea Kim Jong-un said that his next leader is going to be his 13 years old daughter, which is a huge thing to say for yeah, like it's a huge shift. So I think it's a positive shift. Um, so while I'm coming back to America, while I'm looking at the DC chart, so there's a lot of energies around the 22 angle in Lilith and Jupiter. So this favors JD Vance. So Vance is going to become more and more popular and people are going to like him more. And that's not going to be good for Donald Trump, but it's going to be good for us. So right now we have at the 22-degree asteroid Lilith and Ceres, which is, there are two forces of the feminine archetype. And it's also connected with the Venus energy. And this is a very important aspect to see because right now the feminine archetype is going to come back into balance. So we're going to see this as an individual level, but also as a collective level. I'm just looking at the chart to see what else I can talk about around this. So one thing I want to talk about is also like in America and in the Middle East, but also around the world, we can see that the feminine energy is getting angry because of the oppression of men that we had throughout centuries. We can see that manifested on a physical plane with the devastating Venezuela earthquake, where many people passed away, and it's just so heartbreaking. We can see with the weather that is very extreme. We've had floods, we had like really really challenging time. We had storms, earthquakes around the world. So it has been like the feminine energy and the Gaia energy has been very angry and upset. And while I'm looking at the chart, I see that Hecate sits at the 4 degrees conjunct the midpoint of Neptune and Pluto. So the asteroid Hecate is connected to the goddess. She is the triple goddess. She is the keeper of the keys. She's the one who hears the voice from below. She's the one who sees the voice of the oppressed. And this is a very, very powerful energy. So Hecate is associated also with the Balkan energy. So we have Romania, Bulgaria, and countries from the Balkan. We have countries that were previously in the USSS, UR, yeah, so the ex-Soviet Union and the Middle East. We have Inanna from Mesopotamia, and we have Freya, which is the Viking goddess of war. So we have a lot of energies that are coming through from the esoteric, the feminine archetype that is very upset and is very angry. I'm going to specify also Kalima and Amaterasu from Japan, I think, and Native American. So many that were oppressed are going to be helped by the goddess. So we have dark feminine energy represented by the goddess in the sky, but also on a metaphysical plane. And many people are going to feel connected with this dark feminine energy. It doesn't have to be like, you don't have to be a female to be connected with that. So you're gonna feel it. Yeah. Um, so it's gonna help align things. And we have another asteroid. It's called Humea, who is at 2 degrees of Scorpio, and it's a square at the opposition with the Barbault basket. So it looks like she's the handle of the basket. And Humea and Chiron are coming into an opposition. So we have Humea the Scorpio and Chiron that is in Taurus right now. And this asteroid is about regeneration, rebirth, the recreation of world from broken pieces. And she can have a lot of, she can bring a lot of pressure. Yeah, so she can bring a lot of pressure to politics to get it together. Yeah. We're also gonna see that Putin is going to become more aggressive and more violent, but it's not gonna be for long because things are going to shift on the physical plane and also on the physical. Yeah, yeah. So we see again that Hecate is conjunct Juno in Gemini. which is a very important aspect. So we see the witch and the queen of the gods together at the top. So we're gonna see a lot of connection with other communities. So people are coming together. Different communities are going to connect to one another. There's gonna be more communication between all of them. Um, so all the queens are rising in the chart, not one of them. So all the feminine energy is going to come together. There won't be so much division between females. And we have also Athena in Gemini. So this is the strategist and war that it's coming together to make a strategy on how to deal with this. We also have the planets Ceres, Venus, and Pluto that are represented of the triple goddess. So we have the maiden, the mother, the crown of the divine feminine energy. Pluto is associated with the grandmother, and it's associated with Demeter. Yes, yes. And then we have the maiden, which is associated with Persephone. Actually, what I'm thinking about is that the maiden is Persephone, the mother is Demeter, and the crown is Athena. And we have Hades. So this is the cycle of birth and rebirth. And right now we are planting the seeds for the new earth. And we can see that there are a lot of aspects with AI. So there are communications with UFO and AI and um, you know, highly intelligent beings, supernatural beings that are connecting. So what I'm getting is that there is a connection between ancient civilizations. I'm getting Mayan civilization from Mesopotamia, yeah, and from the Viking era. They're all connecting together power, and they're connecting also with higher intelligence that is on other planet. And it's nothing new. Like this is what used to happen in the ancient civilizations, in ancient Greek. So we are more connected than we realize. I'm just gonna check and see what else is going to happen. So anyway, the the energy can feel quite heavy. People tend to lose hope. I think the biggest thing is to remember that we're not alone, and we have the subtle energy of the gods and goddesses that we can connect. And we also have the subtle energy of the star seeds, and we're gonna see more connection with that, with the Aquarius energy. So the most important thing is to remember that you're not alone, that we are one. So we're coming together to create this new earth. Um, you're unique. Your talents are unique. Remember to have fun. Remember that the frequency of joy and love is going to be very important, even though the planetary aspects are very, very challenging right now. It's important to have fun and don't feel guilty about it. I know, like, for some of us it can be very, very challenging depending on where you are, but when you connect with your friends and family, and when you connect with joy, you bring resources and you bring a sense of peace to the world. So um, everything that you're doing to heal yourself, heal your inner child, taking care of yourself and your family is going to move you forward, and you're going to be a light warrior, peace bringer, a light bringer. So when we stand connected and we stand united, things are going to get better. I think there is a lot of hope right now. There are some aspects that are important because, well, I look at this astrology, I can see a connection between the current energies and the energies that were at the French Revolution. Um, and right now, the collective are saying no kings, and that's what they said at the French Revolution, no kings. Actually, you know, so DT, he doesn't think he's a king, he thinks he's a god. Actually found a book called American Gods by Neil Gaiman. So, I think I'm pronouncing his name right. I'm gonna look this up. It sounds interesting. Um, you know, I also think he has like small hands. So, because he's not able to build something on a physical plane, he just wants to destroy, but he's not going to be able to destroy because we're going to stand united. Um, One thing I would suggest is to not bring too much negative energy, but focus on the positive aspect of what we can do practically. So, because Saturn is retrograde in Aries in the next couple of months, we're gonna see that uh, the decisions, the absurd decisions of the world leaders are going to be questioned. And yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting aspect to see. But I just want to say that there is hope and things are going to get better. Remember to stay your beautiful, unique self, okay? And I also want to say that weird means to have the power to control fate. So when you're your authentic self, when you march to the beat of your own drum, you're going to find people just like you, and you're going to be able to connect with your soul tribe, and you're going to feel like yourself. Your soul is going to feel like very, very happy and fulfilled. I know there has been a lot of oppression, especially with Pluto in Capricorn. The corporations have sold us this idea that if we study a lot and if we work a lot, we're going to be able to get the benefits, but they're getting the benefits and we are not. So people have been very greedy, the 1%, but things are going to shift, you know, as it says, it's always darkest before the dawn. So don't lose hope. If you're upset or sad, connect with someone, share it with someone. A burden shared is going to be half solved. So just remember to share your blessings and share your gratitude, share everything that you have on your heart. Social media has a lot of Neptunian energy. I think it's a very interesting aspect that they're both in 1984. So Mark Zuckerberg and JD Vance, they have some similar. So they have the same year. They were born on the same year, but they are quite opposite because Mark Zuckerberg is very obsessed with like control and things like that. So yeah, even though there are kids trying to mark their territory and try to get to the top and have power and have control. Um, we don't have to accept that just because it has been the status quo, and what was up must come down, and otherwise, and it's gonna be power to the people. So as we connect more to one another, it's gonna be really, really wonderful. So I'm just gonna say it again that um, weird means the power to control fate. So you control your fate by being yourself. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a wonderful day.